Alright guys, we're back in with another adventure today. Today's zone-based firewall rules made easy. I'm going to be showing you a whole bunch of new cool stuff that we can do in here to make your network up and running. So, let's get into that video. Alright guys, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write down all your subnets of your different VLANs. You're going to write them all down right here, and you're going to add a 1 in front of them all. That's all you're going to do. So after this 8, see where that 0 is? Just add 1 in front of it. So get a piece of paper and write 192.168.8.1 or 1.1 or whatever. Write them all that way. Just trust me, because we're going to be using this to create a rule. So then we're going to go to Profiles, and we're going to go to Network Objects, and we're going to do a block to gateway. And all those ones that we just wrote down, you're going to put them all right here, and you'll be rocking and rolling. So basically what this is, we're telling it, because when we create a rule later, we're going to say you can't go to our gateway using any of these IP addresses. Because if you didn't know, even though this is on, let's just say this is the IoT network and this is the default network, if I type in 1.1, 192.168.1.1, I'll be able to hit the gateway, even though I'm on the 3 network. If I'm on the 3 network and I type 192.168.6.1, I'll still be able to hit the gateway. Even though I can't talk to any of the other devices on the network, I'll still be able to ping the gateway. So that's why we got to create this rule right here. So put them all in here, even the default one, because these won't be applied to the default network or the internal network. These will just be applied to all the different VLANs that we don't want having access to our gateway. So that's why we put them all in here, no matter what. Next, we're going to be creating block, HTTP, and HTTPS, and SSH. These are the ports for that. You're going to want to put that in here too. This coexists with blocking of the gateway. So we're going to need these ports. These ports, it doesn't matter what kind of subnet you have. These are the default ports for what these use, so put them in there. Then after that, if you're a Pi-hole user, then let's do that. So Pi-hole, right here, Pi-hole DNS. Port 53, that's what Pi-hole uses because that's a DNS, and DNS port is 53. And I like it to say Pi-hole. Plex, if you have a Plex, then watch this. If not, just don't worry about it. Plex server, do the port. Port is 32400, that's what Plex uses. I want it to say Plex when we do the rules, so put it there. And it doesn't matter what type of network you have, this is Plex's port that it uses. Next, we'll go to security. So, security, just to get it out of the mess, I don't mess this up or anything, let me tell you this here. So you guys see all your zone-based right here once you've upgraded. Some people, I've watched other YouTubers, they make an untrusted network. They'll call this, they do a test. And instead it would be untrust, let's pretend it's the untrust network, and they'll select like IoT, guest, and whatever they don't untrust. There's no point of doing that. It just is going to make your zone rules harder, and it doesn't block. So all those networks that are in that untrusted zone that you could add multiple checks, those networks would still be able to talk to each other. They wouldn't be able to talk to the networks that weren't in those zones, but they'll still be able to talk in there. So you'd have to create another rule calling block interleaving traffic and stuff like that. But there's no reason for that. It's going to make it, if there's problems with your firewall rules that you create or you're testing stuff out, it's going to make it a nightmare doing all your stuff that way. What's better is, and this is from Unifi themselves, I'll put a picture here too, and I had to do research and get my butt dug in with my heels and figure this out, but the zones themselves is better just to have it because you don't need anything. So just make each zone a VLAN. So like IoT is IoT, guest is guest. It's going to make it easier when creating your rules and doing your rules and troubleshooting in the long run. Because and trust me, what's the point of the VLANs anyways is because I don't want them to talk to each other no matter what unless I give access to. I don't want IoT talking to anyone unless I want it to. I don't want guests talking to anyone if I don't want it to. So why would I have to a whole network just called untrusted and make my life a living craziness if I don't have to? So, and I have a monitor one too. I have all my networks. I'm going to be showing you all this stuff. So the first thing we're going to do, if you have a Pi-hole, watch this part right here. So if you have a Pi-hole, we'll go to our network, and we're going to go to my daughter's. Or I'll just do IoT, doesn't matter either way. We'll just go down here and show more. And if you see, it says it's usually going to be by default DNS server auto. Change it, put your Pi-hole's IP address there. And then you're going to go back to security. And since that was the IT, we can go to the IoT network. And there it is, Pi-hole. But just letting you know, you don't have to go and select these networks to create rules at all. You don't have to. This is like a cheat sheet up here just to kind of help you and show you. Because you could just go to all rule policies, and all your rules for all these zones are all up here. So you could just go to create a new zone and just put it there. And then let's say if this is IoT, it's automatically, when I hit apply, since this is the first zone, it's automatically going to go to that zone automatically. So you don't have to worry about that. The only thing that the zones really do in creating rules is it sets that as the default. So if I go to IoT and create a new rule, IoT is the default. If I go to Mackenzie, create a rule, Mackenzie's the default because I'm in that area. That's all it does, so you don't have to. And this makes it easier if you have a problem or if you want to look what rules are where, just to find it right here. Like we're going to go to IoT zone next, so the internal. We're going to create a Pi-hole. Now for the Pi-hole, we're going to go to IoT because it's on the IoT network that we want to have access to the Pi-hole. We want any because it's the whole network. There's no other networks there because it's the whole network. It's because it's only one zone that's IoT. So we have any. We're going to put action allow return traffic because it's DNS. And we're going to go because the Pi-hole is on my internal zone. Whatever zone yours is on, if you want it on the IoT or whatever, it's on my internal. I'm going to have IP address specific. And it's going to be my Pi-hole's IP address. And then we're going to go to the DNS thing that we created under object. You could go to DNS. Now you could do this 3 ways. Remember, Pi-hole that we did, that DNS was 53. Well, what you can do is you can go to specific and just type in 53 if you want to. Or you could just scroll down and go to DNS, which is 53. You get 2 ways you can do it. So either way, whatever's fine with you. So now, once that's done, we'll go down to this and go to, I'm going to keep this as it was before. Let's go to object, Pi-hole. You're going to want to make sure that the protocol is TCP UDP, and then we'll hit apply, and we'll be rocking and rolling. So now you want to do that to all your networks, but especially with my IoT network, since a lot of my Google stuff's on there, I don't want it to, some of them have hard-coded DNS, but I want it to use the Pi-hole no matter what. I want it to say, nope, I don't care what you want. You're going to use the Pi-hole, and you have no way around it. So what I'm going to do is, the IoT is the external zone, block IoT to Google DNS. So that means no matter what, they have to use my DNS. So block IoT to Google DNS. The zone is IoT, any, because any device on there. Action is block. The zone is the external, because it's going to go out to get that Google DNS. IP address, specific. We're going to put the Google's IPv4 DNS ranges for the Google DNS, and that's 8.8, 8.8, and then the secondary one is 8.8.4.4, and we're going to do that. We're going to do Pacific. You could, like I said, if this isn't Pi-hole, so I don't want to say Pi-hole, you could just either do DNS 53 or do custom 53. Either way, it's going to go to port 53. Protocol, make sure it says TCP UDP. And then just hit add, and Bob's your uncle. And when you unplug your Pi-hole, guess what those things are going to have to use? They're going to go down after a little bit. They'll stop working. You can try and mess with them, and then eventually they'll just go to, oh, there's no internet connection. It might take a minute. Google devices are slow doing that sometimes, but trust me, your stuff will just stop working. The pictures they're displaying will stop working. Going out to the internet will stop working. Showing videos will stop working. Everything will just stop working. So, and as soon as you plug it back in, like in less half a second, everything will just pop back up again when you plug your Pi-hole back in. So the next thing is we're going to want to do is we're going to want to block our gateways. And like I said with the previous version, if you have a Pi-hole, do that same rule and just change the IoT to, let's see here, Pi-hole, where is the Pi-hole again? Just go here and change it to your cameras, and then your camera is the only difference. And you go any internal IP4, allow return traffic, Pi-hole's IP address in here, the DNS, Pi-hole DNS, TCP UDP, and hit apply, and then make sure you don't do what I did and see how I just clicked over and changed it, because then once I hit apply, since this is in cameras, this rule will leave the IoT network and go to cameras. So what you want to do is just create a new rule every time you do it, and then you'll be fine. Bob will be your uncle, and you'll be rocking and rolling. So after that, we're going to want to block the gateway. And you're going to want to do this to every network except the internal. That's the only one you don't want to do. So unless you have other networks and you're a real beast of a networker and you know why you want to block certain other networks. But I like to do them all. But I want to do just show with my daughters. We're going to go to gateway because we're doing the gateway. And we're going to block Mackenzie to UDM. So she doesn't have access to the gateway at all. So what I'm going to do is block Mackenzie to UDM. Any, because I want all the devices on there. It doesn't matter what it is on her network. If it's on her network, it's going to be blocked. We're going to hit block. Gateway, the zone-based is the gateway because it has its own zone already. We're going to go, instead of any, we're going to do IP, and we're going to go to object, and we're going to do that block to gateway with all those different VLAN subnets in there already. So we won't have to write these manually for each individual zone we apply this to. It's just, block gateway, done. Then under ports, we're going to do object and that block to SSH and TTPS and HTTP. And then we're just going to leave all this blank and just hit apply. And guess what? Mackenzie's network and whatever network that you had instead of Mackenzie's will be blocked from accessing the gateway. Whatever zone this is in will be blocked. And this is Mackenzie's zone, so he's blocked. As I said, each one, you have to repeat this. Let's just do the guest zone. We'll go to external for the guest. Wait, does the guest not need? Oh, because it's in the hotspot. That's right. It's already blocked by default. You don't need to do it to the guest because it's in the block by default. It doesn't matter. Let's do the IoT. Actually, wait, guest is there. There it is. Yeah. What am I talking about? Miles. Block guest to UDM. Yep. Guest, any, block, gateway, block to gateway, what we created. Object, block, SSH, and do this for each one of these. So each one should have one. There it is. Of each of my different rules. Block cameras to UDM. Yep, I block the cameras to the UDM. So if my camera network, which is running on the actual gateway itself, can't still access the UDM, but yes, I can still access my cameras locally and all that stuff. It's freaking awesome. This thing just works. I'm telling you now, it works. Do it, guys. Block the gateways. So next what we're going to have is what happens if you want to do some casting. So let's say that, let's see here, we'll go to the networks, and we have these 3 networks here. I don't want anything to be casted to my IoT network. Now, if you have Google devices, let's say that might want that here. If you want to be able to adjust the volume of your little speakers and stuff, then you have to have that here. Otherwise, you won't be able to do that from the app. But even if we add it here, it doesn't mean it gives access to all the other networks and just being able just to do that right off the bat. All this is saying is, hey, your devices that are here are able to be discovered, and with the proper firewall rules, are able to cast and do whatever. So basically, that's all it is. So I have my IoT network here, and I want my NVIDIA Shields to be casted to. So they're both here. And I want guest and my daughter to be able to cast their content to the Shields. So I need them all here. If I have the IoT network here, then Mackenzie and guest would also see, when they come up to casting, they would see, living room display or bedroom display. But they wouldn't be able to cast to it. It would fail because they need the proper rules. But I never mess with those or cast to those or really adjust the volume anyways. I can either do it with my voice, tell it to do what volume or whatever, so I don't care about that feature. So that's why IoT network is not there. But hey, you might want it there. So just a quick little tip for you. So now that we have Mackenzie and guest there, we need to go allow them to be able to cast to those devices. They can see them, but they won't be able to cast to them. So now we're going to give them the ability to say, hey, yes, your traffic is permitted. So now what we're going to do is go to security. We're going to go down and do my daughters, because it's the internal. And as you can see, allow Mackenzie to shield. So I already know what my Shield's IPv address is. It's static, so it doesn't change. So this rule will stay intact. So I'm going to go to allow Mackenzie to shield. Mackenzie, because any of her devices. I want her laptop or her tablet or her computer, or eventually when she gets a phone, she'll be able to cast to it if she wanted to. Action is allow. And then we want auto allow return traffic. So we have auto allow return traffic here because I want her to be able to, you have to have this on with casting. If you don't have auto allow return traffic and everything else in this rule is correct, it will fail. It'll be able to like connect, but no picture is going to go to that screen. It's just not going to work. I'm telling you now. Auto allow return traffic. Destination zone. So we're going to do the internal because my NVIDIA Shield is on the internal. IP address specific, and I want to give them only access to the NVIDIA Shield. So it's only giving access to be able to cast to the NVIDIA Shield. And then we're going to go any, all, keep all the same and hit apply, and boom. Now that person or whatever has access to cast to whatever device. This is just my Shield. You can change it to whatever device you want. Next is we have a Plex server, and it's local, and I want my daughter to be able to do casting, not casting, but be able to do local play. Why should it have to go to the internet and then come back down and use data when my server is at home anyways? There's no reason for that. Now, what I'm about to show you is part of it. Once you do this rule, I have another video, I'll have a link up here, that is for local play on Plex, and you'll have to do some settings in your Plex server once you've added this in to be able to play locally. This just is part of the rule. You have to have both of them in place to be able, otherwise it doesn't work. So this is just for the firewall rule part. So watch that other video. So we have allow Plex to Mackenzie. So we're going to do any, allow, auto allow return traffic, because it's just like the casting. It's going to be playing videos and do stuff. You have to have allow return traffic on for this. The destination is the internal zone. So that's where my Plex server resides on. I have two of them. And then I do specific, and I typed in both of my Plex server IP addresses in there. And then under port, we're going to want to set the port to that Plex port. Or you could do it manually too. Like I said, hit the specific and just do, I think it's 32400 right there, and you'll be rocking and rolling. But like I said, I like the object ones. I think they look cool, so I like to say Plex because I know it's Plex. I just anal about it, sorry. And then IPv4, everything else the same, and hit apply, and you're off to the races, just like that. Now, since this is my daughter too, I'm going to be showing you some other cool stuff. So this is my daughter's network. Well, she does, if I don't want her to watch YouTube, or if she's been in trouble, I'm going to do blocking apps and stuff on her phone or YouTube itself entirely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the external, because it's going to go to the external, and see how it says block to YouTube to Mackenzie sites. So if we go here, block YouTube site to Mackenzie. Mackenzie is her theme, any, block, external, and I hit domain, and I typed in the youtube.com, and then I hit any, both, all the same, and hit apply, and boom. Since it's always, so she'll always be able to be blocked. I could do daily, certain days of the week, what times, but I want her always, because she'll just keep watching that. So we just keep it always and only watch when we're in the room with her and stuff like that. She's allowed one a day. So next, we want to be able to block the apps. So same thing. Block Mackenzie apps, YouTube apps, Mackenzie, any, block, external. And we're going to do apps this time. And then you can go through and you can edit and add more apps in. And then this is YouTube Kids and YouTube. So that blocks her out from that. Any, both, all, this is all perfect right here. And always again. And yeah, she will not, none of her stuff will be able to access YouTube at all. So yeah, that's a good day for parenting day. So next, there's another thing. I have a monitoring network. And this monitoring network, since I have this not to use the Pi-hole for its DNS, just so that if the DNS goes down, my Pi-hole goes down, that it can still send me information if I'm not at home and say, hey, the DNS is down. I'm like, oh, my wife's not home right now. I could log into the router and fix it really quick. I never had to do that, but if I had to, I could fix the DNS and she wouldn't even know nothing happened. She might have some more ads in her games or something, but that's it. So it's freaking awesome. So I have the monitoring my internal, so my servers and everything if they go down. And to make a rule for that, I had to go to the monitor first. We want to allow the monitor to default. Now, I could just allow it to specific IP address, but I wanted the whole network because it monitors all different stuff, and I don't care. That thing's a Zima board. I have it only set to that, and no other weird traffic has come. I could put it in the IoT network and still give it access, but I'd just rather it not have its own network. I hit allow monitor to default, allow any, because I want all the devices, allow return traffic, and then destination zone, I have any internal, and then both, and then all, and then hit allow, and boom, now it can monitor my stuff. But the internal zone needs to be able to, I want to be able to log into my Zima board if I'm on my internal network. So what I do is, I'm going to hit this little zone-based tab here so I can go even farther, and let's go to the monitor, internal to monitor, and then we'll go to internal, and if you can see right here, I have the internal to monitor, internal, any, allow. I don't need allow return traffic for uptime Kuma, which I have another video there for uptime Kuma. Allow return traffic. And then any, both, all, always, and that's good to go. So now I'm able to actually log into my uptime Kuma, do some stuff on my uptime Kuma on the monitoring network, and I can see it, and my monitoring network has access to be able to monitor my Pi-hole's DNS, my servers, my Plex servers. So it does my server itself and my Plex server. It's freaking awesome. It can tell me, even if the same server that's running my Plex server's down, it'll tell me if just the Plex server's down, part of it, or if the whole server's down. It's freaking awesome. It's cool. It's cool. So, next thing what we have here, if I can see, is the guest network. So the guest network is our next one. So now you could do it both ways. I mean, either way would probably be fine, but this is the way I did and it works fine, so either way. So guest policies, so we go to guest, allow guest to Pi-hole, we all done that, but printer. So printer's the same thing, allow guest to printer. So I have any, allow, internal network, because the printer is on the internal network. I could make another network for printers, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Internal network IP4 specific, here's my printer's IP address. I'm like, any IP4 as in thing, all correct. Everything works good. And you're like, okay, but since I used the hotspot, now I could probably put this rule in the hotspot too, whatever. I haven't really played with it. It still works this way, so either way, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to show you this way that I got it working. Go to Insight, go to hotspot, landing page. We're going to go down here and under settings, and we're going to see pre-shared. So I have my printer right there. Now, just letting you know, you can't just scan and find a printer like usual. There's a different way of doing that, and I have another video up there for you too. But and that's my hotspot 2.0 video. Right here is 192.168. This is my Shield's IP address, because like I said, I want my Shield to be able to be casted to from the guest network, and the guest uses hotspot, so you have to have this extra rule added in here to allow the guest to do it. So we'll go back, and we're going to go back to our security settings, security, and we're going to go under guest, click here, allow guest to shield, and it's the same thing again, allow guest, any, allow return traffic, allow, internal, because this is internal, specific, IP address, and then we're going to add the shield's IP address. You have to do it twice, one in the hotspot and one here. I haven't fooled around with it. I was just thinking while I was reading this off, I was like, maybe I could just do it in the actual hotspot itself, but I don't know if it would work, but I know this works flawlessly, so that's what I'm telling you right now. So I'm pretty sure it would do the same, but I just want to make sure. I want to tell you what works, not guesses. I'm pretty sure it does. I'll do another video maybe on that too. So yeah, so we have that now. So now they can do the return traffic and do that. But what we're going to also want to do is allow Plex to guest too. I did the same exact rule before, both servers in here, because I want the Plex, my guests, to come over. A lot of them have access to my server anyway, so if they want to watch their own thing or do something, I'd rather just save more data and more bandwidth. They can access my server locally. Why have to do it then? So yeah, and then remember, you got to watch that other video about Plex local play too, because even though we create the firewall rule here, Plex will actually still load faster, but it won't do local unless you add another IPv range under some settings in your actual Plex server. But yeah, so that's that. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anything for you. Oh, here's another one, my VPN. So this is just one. So like I said, my Plex, let's see here. Wait, did I have any? No, I didn't have any. I don't think I did, yeah. No, yeah, that's gonna be a whole nother video. Sorry about that, I got carried away here. But hey, if you guys like these videos, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you guys don't miss any of my videos. And I hope that I get at least 1,000 likes on that video. That would be awesome on this video, it would be amazing. But as I always say, I hope you and your family are having a rock and rolling day. Peace out, and guess what? I'm gonna catch you in the next video. All right.